you're using future earnings as collateral. So you spend money you haven't yet earned. Okay, that's what you're doing. And so now you're paying it back plus interest, but all you're doing is working your way back to zero.
What up, fighters? Today's episode is on the 5 principles of personal finance. But before we get deep into the episode with Mr. Curtis May, I need your help. We want to reach 1,000 military members. Please share this podcast, leave a comment. It helps us out. It helps us reach as many people as possible. Now, with that said, let's talk to this 35-year financial expert about the 5 principles of personal finance. Let's get into the fight. What's up, fighters? Welcome to another show of Real Estate from the Foxhole. You've already heard my guest just now. He's super excited to get talking. That's why he's jumping in. His name is Mr. Curtis May. He's a beast when it comes to personal financing. He hosts a show called Practical Wealth Show podcast. And I'm super excited to talk to him. He's a beast, and I mean, the stuff he's going to put us onto is going to change the way you look at finances and saving and building wealth. So let's get right into it. Curtis, how are you, sir?
I am fantastic.
Wonderful. I know I gave you a little bit of a laydown on who you are, but if you would please give them the full story, give them the full background on who you are and what makes you so great.
Well, that's a long story. What makes you so great? How much time you got? No, I'm very silly, y'all. You get to use to me. But so, hi, I'm Curtis. I'm from Philadelphia, married, 3 kids, and I have a show called the Practical Wealth Show, but my firm is called Practical Wealth Solutions. So I work with clients, but I'm a little bit different, because I'm kind of known as the anti-Wall Street financial advisor. Okay, and so most people, when it comes to money, there's only 2 ways somebody can help you when it comes to finance, right? So I kind of jump right into this. One is to help you find better investments that pay a higher rate of return, right? But the only way to do that is to take more risk, right? And so people think risk means opportunity for a higher gain, but it really means probability of loss. Okay. And so I take the opposite tack. There's more opportunity in helping my clients avoid the losers than there is trying to pick the winners. So I really focus on people like if y'all ever read The Richest Man in Babylon, I teach that. That's principles-based planning. You know, the first 2 rules are you got to earn money, but then you've got a part of all you earn is yours to keep. So you have to pay yourself first, and you've got to spend less than you make. Okay, so like if you can't do that, you can't win. So everyone wants to invest, and I want to buy real estate and all this sexy stuff. The velocity of money starts with paying yourself first.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I do. So I'm a bit of a contrarian. I get a little hype. You know, I love what I do, and I'm a financial strategist. And I'm the money coach, and I'm the guide. Cause I tell people, look, it's your money, ain't my money. I'm going to give you some homework, and you're going to do it, or you can be broke. You can call your cousin in Primerica or something. And all right. But, I'm gonna see. I go on these little rants. You stop me.
No.
Keep
These
asking
rants are good, and this is partly why I was so excited once you were introduced to me. I watched some of your videos. I watched what you do. I kind of heard what you go through, and I can tell the passion and excitement that you have for the subject. It's not just about making money. It's about helping people come up out of debt, that they keep having that weird cycle and they're doing it to themselves, and they just can't, have a struggle to break that cycle. With that said, you did mention the 5 principles of personal finance. That's something I'm really interested in hearing more about, of course, outside of the YouTube, of course, but on this channel, I want to be able to get that out to the people. If you could please talk more about those principles. Let's talk about that. So what's
so the framework, so if they go to my website, you'll see on the framework, on the first page, it says principles drive strategy,
right?
And strategy drives tactics, right? So you start with principles, because principles don't change. See, people are chasing tactics, trying to run plays before they have a foundation, they have what I call money rules, right? So your principles are, our 5 principles that we teach, so I really teach is 8, but I call it the 5 principles and the 3 rules of investing. So I'll give you both. So Principle 1 is saving. Okay? Saving what? 15, 20% of your gross income. Okay, so even as you, a lot of times you work with real estate investors, most of them don't save because they think, oh no, I want to put it right into another house. No, you must save. Velocity of money, or the Burr method, starts with, and you can't, like Kiyosaki would say, savers are losers, which is true because you're really saving debt, Federal Reserve notes, but it's the verb of spending less than you earn. That's the thing. You got to pay yourself. You got to pay yourself first. You got to spend less you earn. So you have to save. So the first step is saving. So that's principle one, save. And so let me give you a hack to when I say that specifically. I had a person called me from that. She said she started doing this just off of me saying this off her show, and it changed her finances like a month before she called me. So what I'd want you to do is, and if you have variation of this, so if your clients are real estate investors, I'd have them read Profit First and Profit First for real estate investors, okay? Because it starts with cash flow management. Most money is lost by how people manage cash flow, and they don't pay themselves first. They save if they have any money left over. That is the philosophy of poor people, okay? So you got to pay yourself first. So here's the thing. Get yourself an account, separate account, that you label your wealth capture account. And every check that hits your account, you have to decide how much of it you're going to sweep into that account, right? So if you make $1,000, can you put 150 of it in that account, and then work with the other 950? But you're putting up money because, one, you got to build money for emergencies, which I'm going to show you is principle 4. But you want to have money so when opportunities come up, you need to have some capital.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why. So it's saving. So the second step, and I'll go with these a little bit faster, but I want people to say, create a wealth capture account. If you still work, go to HR and do a direct deposit and start funding that account. And then after you do that, you pay yourself first, then you pay your bills. Like people say they want to get out of debt. Getting out of debt is not even your first 2 or 3, 4 things that you need to be thinking about. You want to pay it, but it's not, getting out of debt is not going to, getting out of debt faster does not create wealth for you. Because the only thing that creates wealth for you is funding your asset column. When you say, I got to get out of debt, you're saying that the bank's asset column is more important than you, because everything that's a liability in your balance sheet is the bank's assets. So your debt, your credit card debt, where you want to eliminate the credit card debt, but I had a client, she was just paying $200 extra a month on their mortgage. I'm like, why? That's a waste of money. You got 3.29% mortgage.
Right.
What's the point? Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's another. We'll go ask me that later. I'll go in that deeper, a little bit deeper. So
Okay.
The second level is maximum protection, right? So here are the first 2 areas where most people, even successful because mostly I work with real estate investors and small business owners, or people that want to be that. Their goal is work optional income, right? So that's who primarily my firm is designed, because they get me, because my clients, especially my successful ones, they already know they can make their money, make more money than Vanguard. But you have to play defense. So I'm the defensive coordinator, right? So while you're building this empire, what could happen to you? You could die, you could get sick, you could get sued, you could get laid off, you could become disabled. So how do you transfer that risk away? Insurance, entities, trust, asset protection, all of that falls under my second. And so we take people through this where I look at all this stuff with people, but that principle is called maximum protection. So, for example, do you have full replacement costs on your rental, on your properties, right? So if you had a fire, do you want half your house back or the whole thing? So you got to make sure when you look at your deck page, you have replacement costs, right? I had a client, she had this person, well, she already said it, had, I don't know, $3 million worth of real estate.
Okay.
Over $100,000 of cash flow. Several entities, so the properties were all in LLCs. Like, I'm good. So I'm looking at her. So I have this 1-page financial plan that says, okay, you see what's missing here? I said, do you understand your LLC, the operative word there is limited liability, okay? Right. So she thinks she's protected. I said, listen, do you have an umbrella policy? You have liability coverage, personal liability. If somebody slips and falls on your property, they can pierce that corporate veil, and you got to tie up resources paying for lawyers, right? But I introduced her to somebody that got the person $2 million of umbrella coverage for like $800 a year. Now if somebody comes at you, the insurance company's lawyers defend you.
Right.
That's defense. You see what I mean? And so most people skip defense. They don't have enough life insurance. They think, oh, I got $500,000. Listen, I was showing this couple, I said, listen, if you're between 18 and 40, take your annual, wherever you make a year, multiply it by 25. Okay? That's how much the insurance industry thinks you're worth, right? If you're over 40, multiply it by 20. Most of us, especially people that look like you and I, are underinsured. Okay, I'm not even talking about the type right now. I said the product, that's a tactic. Products don't matter at this point. I'm just talking about the principle, right? So you got to look at all your stuff. Do you have a will? Do you have, are to the point where you need to, really get somebody to help you with asset protection? So as you become more successful, there's a bigger bullseye on your back because most people don't know how to make money. So their idea of getting rich, at least here in Philly, let's get a case. Okay, right?
Yeah.
So you look at all the slip and fall lures between when you land a plane and you take the highway from the airport to your hotel, all these big billboards, all these slip and fall lures, right? So that's big business, right? The third principle is legacy, right? Is full replacement of assets at death guaranteed, right? You want to leave a legacy of wealth and wisdom. The fourth principle is liquidity. The number one problem I see is lack of access to capital. They just don't have any money. All their money's tied up. They put it in it's in the walls of the house. They want to buy. I had a woman. I just had to spend an hour with her talking to her to stop paying cash for houses. Because I said, what's the rate of return on equity? 0. How do you get out? It's very illiquid. It's hard to get out. You have to qualify to get it back out. Right. So we show them how to kind of get it with cash, but have your cash still under your controls. That's another strategy. And then the fifth principle is velocity of money. See, we're taught to accumulate, buy and hold, dollar cost average. I call that the accumulation theory. Right? Buy-term investment difference. And so, but when you look at people with money, they don't do any of that stuff. They literally do the complete opposite, right? So what they engage in is from the book Killing Sacred Cows for Gary Gardner. So they call it's the difference between personal finance and corporate finance. So in corporate finance, they don't do that stuff. They teach velocity of money. Look at Mr. Wonderful. You put money in a deal from Shark Tank. What did he want to know? How soon am I getting my money back? In real estate, you want to get it, you want to buy it, you want to refurbish it, you want to refinance it, you want to get your money out and do what? Put it into something else. The Burr method, that's velocity, right? Getting money moving all the time, and you increase the speed. Money like speed. Then they want cash flow, right? They don't want to just put money in something for 40 years and then build up this money and try to live off the money you saved up and hope you. Basically, really, you're hoping you die if you run out of money because you don't want to be living and you're out of money, but you're still alive. That's not cool, but that's what the typical planning is designed for you to do. And so it doesn't work. And then you want to focus on leverage, using other people's money. Okay. And that's the difference. So that's kind of what we teach is to focus on velocity, cash flow. And so the fifth principle is buy assets. Because the goal of our process is to help my clients become financially free, right? Which is passive income greater than expenses. So that's why I'm the anti-Wall Street financial advisor, because that's not the goal of typical financial advice, is not make you rich. It's for them to charge you fees and earn assets under management. They ain't even thinking about you being rich. They're not thinking about you having, if you need, so if you're making 10 grand a month, well, what do you have to do? How much money would you have to have in the stocks to throw off 10 grand a month income? But now compare that to real estate. Right? If you had $1 million, if you had 100,000, so if you want $100,000 or $1 million of stocks, guess what? What do you need? $1 million, right? But if you want $1 million worth of real estate, how much money do you need to acquire $1 million in real estate? Worst case, like 200,000. But
If that,
the
yeah,
real
depending
answer
on
is
the- yeah, depending on the
depends,
number.
right? Depends on how much you know. Because there's a lot of ways to do it. But see, so your number one asset is in between your two ears. And so
Absolutely.
the three rules of investing, I'm going to finish the thought with this, are after you understand the five principles are investing what you know. Because investing is not about buying something, it's about becoming, right? It's become, then do, then have. See, all we want is do and have. So you don't learn how to become. So we want an easy button when it comes to money. And or you got to invest in knowing, right?
Okay.
Listen to your show, somebody like you, and getting involved with somebody that can teach you some stuff. Then we want to invest in what we can control. What can you influence the outcome of? Does it cash flow? And the third rule is don't chase returns. See, most people are just chasing returns. They hear a hot tip, they want some easy button. Curtis,
Right.
oh, I can't wait 3 years. You have to think long range. I mean, you want to be impatient, but you have to give your efforts time to compound. And so, we teach our people, and all I've done with the principle, I have no original thoughts. So just understand that from the door, right? But if you success these clues, so if you study people with money, you can see stuff. Like if you look on who the rich people in the world. If you look at the 400, and break it down, they own or build businesses.
Yep. Or own. Or
They
build
take the
real estate.
profits from those businesses and they do what? They buy real estate, right?
Yep.
They have, because the asset classes are business, real estate, paper, but they don't make it. Very few of them make it investing in the stock market, right? It's business, real estate. And so guess what you should be doing? Because they focus on cash flow and building a real thing that throws off money. Not hoping the illusion of some stock price going up and down. That is not even tied to the real world. COVID, businesses were shut down and stock prices were going up. I mean, it was totally not reality. It's just an illusion.
Okay. So that's
Now you see, I'm the contrarian, right? So
No. So I like the fact because so many of your principles hit baseline conversations that I've had with people who are well off, millionaires and billionaire level, and they'll say, I literally had a call the other day, and he said, when I look at businesses or I look at real estate businesses, he said, I don't invest in anything that I can't be a part of and influence. Directly speaking to your second principle of investing is invest in what you can control. Another something.
Yes, they want control
Exactly, because what he said
all day
was-
long. Yep.
what he said was in the market, particularly as it is right now with multifamily, there's so much happening. He said, I have the experience to help influence the success. If I let them just do whatever, I'm putting my money and kind of throwing it in the wind. Sure, it
Yes.
may stick to the wall, but the likelihood that it does is slimmer than it is if I'm in it and I'm throwing stuff at it with it. Right, so that makes perfect sense. So let's break it down a little bit, Curtis. Let's go down to like the baseline level, because we got a lot of personnel who listen to this show who are military and they're young and they're out in the street, they're having a great time buying BMWs and Lexuses right after deployment and all that. What's the advice for someone who needs to start getting down the right path? Like they have no idea how to save, they have no real finance. What's your advice to them?
They know how to save. It's about to make me curse. All right, so so I'm not even gonna get into a tactic. Let's just block and tackle, right?
Okay.
Oh, I just told you in the first section. You have a check coming in, right? So what I teach people, I have a system. So I help people do this, right? So I have a system called cash flow mapping, right? So we say, look, I actually don't believe in budgeting. I believe you need to tell your money where to go instead of asking where it went. So when money hits your account, you've got to say, okay, I teach people to have 4 accounts. So if you draw this out, you have one circle on top with 3 connecting to it at the bottom. So the first account is your income account. So after you get paid, that's your income account. And then what happens is we create an account we call our wealth capture, right? So you've got to see, saving has to be automatic and systematic. So if you are the military and did you still do government allotments?
Yeah.
So you allot 15 10% or 20% of every check into this account. Right? So now you've paid yourself first. See, I don't care what you do the rest of it after that. Okay? So, you know what I mean? So if you can pay yourself 20% of your check, right? And then so now you got to have a third column. You have certain bills that are predictable in both timing and amount. That's what I call your fixed bucket. So you have to take care of your responsibilities, rent, the debt that you've run up, the car payment, phone bills, utilities, like those are fixed. So, you have to figure out what does your life cost before you go out and buy all the dumb shit, BMWs and all that kind of stuff. You ain't got BMW money. You ain't have, BMW. Get a couple investment properties. You fronting because you wanted, what's my mentor call it? Chick magnet, if you're a guy, right? And, And what's impressive? What's sexy? You want sexy financial statements because you have the cash flow glow, right? And so that's what you want. That's attractive. They can tell. Okay, you walk like you have money, right? And so if that's what you care to do, and listen. Never mind, I ain't gonna say that. But no. I mean, listen, I was a ball player, so I mean, through my 20s, so I mean, I get it.
Okay, I see where you're going. Got it.
So, but. All right, the other thing I'm definitely not going to say. I was going to say, just don't be like T.O. and have child support payments all over the place. All right, so let's just say that. You have to talk to the guys, all right, because we're guys, all right. So. Right. But so you got to pay yourself first, right? You've got to pay your bills, and then you have I teach having a third account with a debit card. If you promise to pay it off at the end of the month, I'll let you do it with a credit card because credit card is better because it gives you fraud protection, right? But you have variable. So variable, because people say, well, I made it, I don't know where my money goes. It's the variable expenses, eating out, going on vacations. Okay, look, you're doing what I call bank book accounting, where all right, I got money or I got credit, I'm going to buy it. But if you buy it and you can't pay it off, that payment now gets added to your fixed bucket money, right? And now you're still paying for decisions you made 2 years ago.
I know what that feels like.
You see what I mean? And so. Plus interest. And so you have to get control of your money. So if you will treat yourself well first, now you've got capital. You can still enjoy yourself. You just got to live within your means, and then you got to focus on expanding your means. You can't go on deployment, get a bunch of money, blow it, because you're hustling backwards. You're just like on a treadmill. You're making money, spending money. You're making money, spending money, and you're getting nowhere. Hear me, people.
We spoke a little bit about this earlier when I was giving you the example of a friend of mine who has, he'll pay something down, he'll end up going out and buying some more crap that he really doesn't need, and now he's back into that window, right? So, and you had a whole example and baseline of what you call it. Can you go through that one more time? Because I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, so we call it the debtor, saver, and the wealth creator, right? So if you're watching this, so what happens is think of a line, right? What I call the zero line, the timeline and your zero line. So what I call the tabletop. So if you're seeing the screen, when you go into debt, what you're doing is you're going below the zero line, because debt is you're using future earnings as collateral. So you spend money you haven't yet earned. Okay, that's what you're doing. And so now you're paying it back plus interest, but all you're doing is working your way back to zero, right? So when you get out of debt, you're back to zero, and then you turn around and you buy something else and you work your way back to zero. And most people spend their whole life working their way up to zero. So when people say, oh, I gotta get out of debt, all I hear is, as their first goal, you're just working your way up to zero. And then you'll have the Ramseyites, a lot of people follow the Dave Ramsey says, look, I gotta get out of debt. So he's good for teaching you how to do that. And he says pay cash for everything. And so that's where they lose it, because what happens is, so that's the other side of the tabletop. So now you saved up money, and then, but saving is, what is saving but delayed spending, right? And so you save, you need something, boom, you take it back out, and you're right back at the zero line. So 98% of the world handle monies like that. And then there's the wealth creator, whereas you could store your savings somewhere where you could collateralize it, right? You could put it somewhere, and instead of spending the money, what if you could use your money as collateral, borrow against your money, do what you got to do, but pay yourself back and still have your money always going forward as if you'd not touched it. And so that's the wealth creator. And so what I teach, the strategy part of what I do, is we call it the private reserve, or some people may have heard of a strategy called becoming your own banker or infinite banking. I specialize in that. And that is using a properly structured dividend paying whole life. So could I say that because there's a lot of people say they do infinite banking and they'll use other types of insurance, universal life and blah, blah, blah. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Let me just say it plain, okay? That's bullshit. And they don't know what they're talking about. And because that's not, they're just selling insurance. They don't have any clue how the strategy works, because the system of money management is not about the product, right? It's that strategy. So all I did was talk about the strategy is collateralization, right? And using money without using it. And then the tactic is a product, right? But products always come last, because if you don't have goals, principles, and a strategy, most people lead with what I call tactics or products, right? And they call, oh, Curtis, I want to trust. What do you know about this? I want to use a home equity loan to pay off my debt. And I heard this XYZ product is such. There ain't no product that exists in the financial world that in of itself is going to take you to glory, right? What makes you wealthy is what is in between your two ears. Learning, right? Your number one asset is you. So what do you got to work on? Your mindset, what you think about, who you hang around, what you watch, what you listen to. Your skill set, what do you know how to do? Money is a result of something, of creating value in the marketplace, of solving problems for other people. So if y'all are struggling with money, that means you don't know how to do nothing that people will pay you for. So you have to work on your skills. That's where money comes from. It don't come from the government. You got to stop looking for other people to solve your damn problems, right? The problem is you. It's like if you point at somebody else, it's three fingers pointing back at you. So, right? And so that's kind of my message. So I'm like, look, you know, the theme of my show is like, get your shit together. You know, like stop whining and stop looking for other people to solve your problems. So now I don't say that. I'm nice, you know, and I'm.
It's gotta be a show.
But if you talk to me, that's where it's going to come out. If I'm in a mood, like it's recording, it's late, I'm tired, so I'm kind of unfiltered right now, and so. But that's, you know, that's the thing. It's all in how you think, right? Mindset, skill set, and network. Who do you know? Right. But more importantly, and this is the power of our podcast, who knows you? And you have to cultivate all of those things. You got to work at all of those things. I'm an old basketball player. You know, you have to work on your game, right? Are you getting better? Are you reading 10 to 12 pages a day of good books on skills, on negotiation, on sales, on marketing, on money? Have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Have you read Think and Grow Rich? Are you reading that kind of stuff? Right. You're on deployment, what the hell else you doing? You need to be... I have a friend of mine I had on my show. He was a ranger. And while he was on deployment, he picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad. He was sending money back home. His family, he got back home and they had like 15 properties.
Right.
Because he wasn't spending no money in Afghanistan. So they were, right. You know, so.
Love it. No, that's Curtis. Jesus Christ, I wish we had more time. The stuff that you're kicking out is like the exact fact of things that, first of all, I've been through, and even now, like I still struggle with stuff. We all have struggles. We're going to keep going through. We're going to have to keep tackling. But I've seen guys who are just getting destroyed. Guy, why are you coming back buying a damn BMW? You don't need that. It's just you. You got a condo and it's a studio, but you can go and buy a BMW. Brother, you can buy a fourplex. You could buy a small multifamily, a small commercial multifamily with the money you have just put into that BMW. So you are...
Because they're not thinking about, I want to create wealth. They're living for the now.
In the moment, right.
In the moment, right? And so... we call it in our system. I have a newsletter called the Cash Flow Near. I have a membership called the Money for Life Club. And so in the Cash Flow Near newsletter, we call it getting And it's from the theme of the show comes from this theme from the Gambler with John Goodman and Mark Wahlberg. And so just do a YouTube search for FU. Say the word. I was saying the whole word out. And so our goal is to get our clients to a position of FU, right? Which is passive income twice your expenses. So you can do what you want when you want. And so you want to get mad that I don't want anybody to ever be able to control me, to tell me what I can or can't do. FU. You want me to take a vaccine? F you. I have my own money. I make my own job. Whatever, right? You want to be a sovereign person.
Yep. Yeah. The FU money is a theme that I think we have all heard, particularly when they talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce and those who are like uber rich. But you realize you hit a point where it's FU money. You can't tell me what to do because no matter what.
And it's not like an amount of money. Right. It's really tied to cash flow. See, so because you don't have to be uber rich, but if you've got assets and you've got like when Kiyosaki wrote his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he said that I was 47, wife was 37, and we were financially free. He had how much did he have? He had about 20 houses. He had $10,000 a month of cash flow off those properties, but he had $3,000 a month of expenses. That's what he was talking about.
At the same time,
so he had enough assets, property, and his bills were only $3,000 a month, so he was financially independent. He could maintain financial independence, being able to live like you want to live from the income from your personally invested assets. And so if you ask people that you talk to, do you want to become financially independent? Oh yeah, tell me what that means to you. They have no idea.
Right.
And so it's hard to reach a target you don't have.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, and in the military, I hope y'all know that. We don't really aim at anything and we don't know where we're going. That doesn't make sense.
Right. It's the same thing. I mean, that's why I said that for you. I say it, but I'm saying that for y'all because you have to aim at first. You can't hit it if you don't have a target and you're not aiming for it. You're not trying to do it. Where you shooting at? And so what are you doing with money? You have to, it's the same thing. The principle. That's what I mean. I'm talking about principles. I'm even talking about, I don't mean specific products. It's because they don't matter yet. I do that stuff. I mean, I do this stuff for a living, but it's really I'm trying to get your mind right. Because if it's people say, always talk about mindset, just show me what to do. You can't do it because you have to be first before you can do.
I think a key of what you said a second ago too as well with the reading part, and I've got a friend who does this, and I'm starting to kind of adopt it myself. Is after you go through those 12 pages, for those who are listening, implement something that you learned from those 12 pages.
One thing, at least, yes.
Just one, right? Just one starting out, right? You can build the 2 and 3 once you get comfortable, but put one, because you would be amazed how much one thing can change the way you change a bunch of other things, and it's just a step-by-step process. You don't build a house.
Because see, they'll read it, but they ain't done nothing. So you have to read it, pick a thing, and do it, and then next week pick another thing and do it, and then you'll stack on little successes, and then because activity produces knowledge. See, the book you don't learn how to swim by reading the book. Eventually you got to jump in the pool, right? And so you've got to try stuff, make adjustments, try it again, make adjustments. If you're doing make offers and that didn't work, or learn how to look at houses so you can do proper performers. I mean, you have to look at a lot of stuff. You have to do the work. That's the work. That way you'll start to see. A lot of the people wouldn't know a good deal if it fell on their head like the Wizard of Oz. That house. We're laying on you like the Wicked Witch of the West. They don't even know. They wouldn't know a good. Like a lot of real estate agents wouldn't know a good investment deal if it fell on them out the sky, right? Because they just sell you houses. They don't, and most of them don't own the investment property.
Yep. That's a fact. Yeah, and they're taught a certain number of principles. They're taught to stay inside that box and never go out. That's what they got to do.
Because they sell houses. They're not.
They don't invest in them. They don't put their money into it, and then you make money out. So that makes perfect sense. All right, Curtis. Jesus Christ, it's so good. For y'all who are watching, listening, I'm gonna try and convince Curtis to come back on. We had to wrestle each other, and I lost. I was screwing up to get Curtis back on in the first place. But I want to get him back on. But before we do that, Curtis, we'll talk about that after the show. But I need you, if you could, please give them this week's Troop to Task. And for those who are watching and listening, Troop to Task is Curtis is going to give you one thing you can do right now. One thing you can do right now. He's giving you principles. He's giving you steps. He's giving you all of it, if I'm honest, already. But he's going to give you one more thing right now that you can do, implement after you get off this, what is this, podcast? Yeah, after you get off listening to this podcast. But you can get on this and make it happen. Curtis, what is this week's Troop to Task?
Hey, I said it, because this is the thing. If you've got to understand that part of all you earn is yours to keep, right? And you got to spend less than you make. That's blocking and tackles. That's the foundation. So the best way to do that, savings needs to be automatic and systematic. So you've got to create an account. So you're intentional about putting money away. And you ain't saving just to be saving. You're saving so that you have capital so you can buy or build assets, right? So create a separate account. If you have a job or you're listening to this, so let me use a round number. So if you make I'll just use 100,000 just because for math's sake, right? And so if I want you to see if you can save 15% of your income, it's $15,000 a year. That's like $782 a pay. Right, so I would want you to take whatever that number is for you. You make $4,000 a month, whatever, and take 10, 15%. I don't care what you start with. I just care if you start because you got to exercise your saving muscle. Take that, have it direct deposit into account that you're going to label wealth capture account, so as you understand. You've nicknamed it because the objective of that money is for you to create wealth with. And so if you just did that and you paid yourself first, not last, that will change your life. 3 months from now, you'll be amazed how much money you have put away. And then you keep learning, and then you'll have, so when you see something you like, you from a money, because that's a money making account, right? So you're focused on finding stuff that makes you money. I got clients that got eight ATM machines, right? ATM machine costs $2,500. You see what I mean? So you don't think about how to make money. You think you need thousands and thousands of dollars, So you don't need that much,
I'm gonna, and this is the last comment I'm gonna make. I was blown away when I watch and listen to some of the people who are making money and the most weird and unforeseen circumstances. There's kids who are making bunches of money off of gumball machines. Put a gumball machine in a toy store or near school. Boom, those kids are cleaning up in quarters, and it's easy for everybody. Everybody can do it. Vending machines, ATM machines, gumball machines, little toy machines that spit out little toys that are popular cartoons at the moment. There's a bunch of ways, man.
It's stuff, and that's, you have to open your mind to. There's a lot of ways. I have a client. I do a Saturday call for our clients where we just brainstorm, and I try to do like study groups. And I would just challenge them. Give me 10 ways you could do to make money, because you got to think about making money, right? And so this woman, she's got like 4 cars on, like between Toro and hire car. But she discovered she had an old Lexus, 200,000 miles on it, sitting in her driveway. That her and her husband upgraded new cars, so she discovered hire car. She put that car out on hire car. It was cleaned it up. It was still had pretty good curb appeal. Somebody rented it out, and they kept it for like 2 months at $25 a day. So she had this car that was, depreciated, not worth that much, and had it making $750 a month. So now she got 4 of them. This is an old car she already owned.
That's so good. And then you got cats who are out here who will buy a Lamborghini and then put that bad boy in Turo, and that bad boy pays for itself, and then 5 more Lamborghinis.
Yep. See, the world is full of people, ideas, and money. And so, you have to, but you got to be thinking about it. Like, you have to be intentional. Most people are not intentional. They don't really have any focus. They don't have any goals. They're just out there drifting.
I love it. Curtis, before I let you go, I need to make sure people are able to get in touch with you and reach out to you. How do people do that?
So, the best way is to I'm going to give you my link to my show. So if you go to practicalwealth.net, they can go to my hub, and on that it shows it goes to the principles, the process. We have a link on there that says Become the Bank. So if you want to learn about the banking strategy, you can make appointments with us. You can go from there. If you look at, it says, where's that? Content. I have follow me on YouTube. You can listen to our show, The Practical Wealth Show. I'm on IG. If you want to talk to us, you can go on the site or on IG and just go to our link tree and you can make an appointment. If you want to talk about, you heard some, listen to me for a little bit so you can, get comfortable with the madness that is Curtis, right? Because I'm and then you can call me. I'll give you, 25, 30 minutes. We can talk wherever you want to talk about. After you're done, I'll give you a little homework once you set the appointment. But, I'm a financial educator. So that's the best way to get in touch with me. Also, I have a book called report called Creating Wealth Using the Velocity of Money. And if you will text Be the Bank, all caps, all one word, to 55444, we'll get that report out to you. And just educate yourself. I'm big on education.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Curtis May.
Then you can call me. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So you can call Curtis. So thank you guys for tuning in. This has been phenomenal. I'm super excited. I'm probably top it up with Curtis just a little bit after this. But you guys stay out of trouble. Remember, you're better than you were, but you're not half as good as you're going to be. Check out everything that Curtis is up to. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. All right, you guys, enjoy the night.
This is army, ain't got much to do with who you know. Keeping it true to form 10 L's into a milli though. But they already knew that those farewell to your opinions know that he is something. This is all me, ain't got much to do with who you know. Yeah, keeping it true to form, but they already knew that, y'all. Here we go.
I'ma show you.